And welcome to In-Game Chat for Saturday, November 1st, 2014. This is Season 8, Episode 44. I'm Scott.
I'm James.
I'm Dennis.
I'm RJ.
I'm Nathan.
And welcome to the show, everybody. If you'd like to get in touch with us, our phone number is 334-272-9228, 334-272-9228. Check out ingamechat.net for all the links to get in touch with us. You can find us on Twitter at InGameChat, as well as over on Facebook. You can email us, everyone, at ingamechat.net. And we are streaming right now on Twitch. Head over to twitch.tv, search for In-Game Chat. You'll find us there. And you can join in the chat room with everybody else live while we broadcast. You'll be able to watch us and interact with us as well. And, of course, you can interact with us by all those other methods. Welcome to the show. It is October is now done. We are into November, so don't forget that November 15th is when we are shifting our times. November 15th, we will start broadcasting at 4 p.m. Central. We will be on from 4 to 6 Central Time beginning November the 15th. So keep that in mind. We're going to try and keep drilling that so everybody knows and can tune in. You will find an interesting show if you tune in at our normal time on November 15th.
Just the black screen of offline.
Or if
Unless you tune in on the air.
Yeah, and like if you tune in on the air, or if you tune into the any kind of app or anything like that, broadcasting through the website or something, you will find a very different show if you tune in at that time. So keep that in mind. That is November 15th. We're just backing it up 2 hours, and we'll start at 4 p.m. Central. All right, so welcome to the show, everybody. Appreciate you being here. Everybody, we've got all of us here this week. And we're going to start talking about what we've been playing. I'm going to go to RJ first. Oh, because his mic wasn't ready. That's exactly why I would go with him.
Good job, man. Good job.
Yeah, exactly. Go for it.
Spent some little time with the usual suspects, Virtua Fighter, Street Fighter, Dark Souls, things like that. But for the most part, I found out something in my library. Apparently, I've got a lot of unfinished business in Dead Space 3.
Really?
Apparently, I stopped playing around the end of February last year in 2013, and I was looking at a Let's Play from Markiplier a few days ago of his playthrough of Dead Space 3, and I saw something in there that said DLC.
Yeah, there was a DLC campaign for it.
And I couldn't recall any DLC for Dead Space 3, so I looked up in the store, and lo and behold, there it was, the middle of March. There was some DLC that came out for $10, still $10, by the way, for Dead Space 3 Awakened. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, there's a little more of this game that I have to play, and I got to do work on that. Then I looked at my save files and realized that, oh, I haven't done the hardcore for Dead Space 3 at all. This is the one that involves you having to go through the entire game without dying.
Yeah,
that's right up your alley, then, right?
Yeah, it's right up my alley. And I'm like, why did I not try this?
Is it like
something came out earlier before?
Is it like Dead Space 2 where the hardcore you had like 3 saves through the entire
hardcore Dead Space 2 had 3 saves. You had 3 saves total.
Is that the same in this one, or
no? You can save all you want. It's just when you die, you go back to the beginning.
Oh, so it's basically kind of permadeath essentially for your
yeah.
campaign.
Mm-hmm. That's what it basically boils down to. So when I discovered that, I started a new gameplay, and I'm like, that's what I'll be doing for the rest of this week.
Are you having somebody beam in as a co-op partner?
No, this is straight solo for this one. That's what I plan to do.
Okay.
So I know what I'll be doing next week, trying to get through hardcore for Dead Space 3.
Yeah, I've played through the normal campaign. I just can't do hardcore. Just no.
No, just no. Okay. Yep. But this is right up my alley, so I'm going to give it a shot.
Over to you, Dennis. What about you?
I've got my usual suspects, Binding of Isaac, which after this week I'll be playing Binding of Isaac Rebirth, but it's got to wait for Tuesday for that. And
you were not playing Binding of Isaac when I was looking at my Steam list today.
I know. I finished up Resident Evil 6 today, and also RJ was kind enough to gift me and I think everybody else here.
I got a copy of it too. Yeah.
Yep. Five Nights at Freddy's on the PC.
Yeah.
Which I just started.
No
on
option
that.
screen.
No
Scariest
option screen.
game I've ever seen. That was the most horrifying thing in the world. I couldn't change the resolution.
Why is it only 720?
I have no idea. Terrified me. I just hit escape. The whole thing closed. I thought, like, for half a second it was weird malware. I was like, this is horrifying. This is really terrible.
But yeah, I've only got on, same as when I got on mobile, I only got up to through night one. Yeah. And then I started night 2 and I was like, I know what happens on this night. I want to go play something kinder, gentler, like Resident Evil 6.
Yeah, that's what you were playing. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. Yeah, I couldn't remember which one it was, but I knew you were playing something. I was wanting to send you an invite to Evolve, but I was like, if he's
Yeah,
not playing it right
well-
now, he's not playing it.
Well, my desktop just barely meets the minimum requirements for Evolve. It's
Yeah.
not exactly a workhorse. It has a Core Duo 2, has 4 gigs of RAM, and that's like literally, here's the minimum you need for Evolve. So I set it to download before I headed over here.
Yeah,
So I'll give that a shot once we're done here.
that'll be great. That'll be good. Over to Nathan.
I've been playing the Evolve Alpha.
Yeah, on PC, obviously.
Yes.
I haven't seen you. I looked today, and I don't know what you were doing today, but I looked today, and you were playing it.
I was playing yesterday, and I was playing today.
Okay.
Um,
On PC, so
yeah.
you got a PC code then to get in.
Well, I never got the code. I think it's just because I was already in the original alpha.
Oh, I see.
They got me, or I think Thursday night they sent me an email, and they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, just download it." It's like, okay, so I don't know if they sent me a key or just because I already had one. But yeah, I've been playing that, and then Risk of Rain got a update. They updated the engine for it, and it runs a lot smoother. Probably before, I mean, the game's not demanding or whatever, but it's a lot smoother, just the animations, and they've added a whole bunch of new things. So I've always enjoyed that game. So, and I sent you guys keys. I don't know if any of you got them.
I did. I got the key. I didn't do anything with it. You already own Risk of Rain, don't you?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I already
I
owned
like.
it
I
as
really
well.
have no
Yeah,
idea.
okay.
Yeah.
I could
Well, that's
probably
good
find
because
out.
I have other people to give them to. So
Yes.
now I know. But yeah, so just those two things. I haven't got a chance to play Destiny all this weekend.
Yeah, I got into Destiny a little bit on Tuesday, did the Nightfall and did that, and then Wednesday I ran some bounties, and then I never touched it afterwards. So, and I don't know. We didn't run the raid, and I didn't feel compelled to really do much more with it. So, I did play some more Shadow of Mordor today, and I really want to focus on that now, just because I got into some really massive fights with a bunch of people, and that felt really good.
Yeah.
Felt really good to make some accomplishments like that and to move along into something. It felt decent. They added some skins to that thing too.
I mean, I only played it at
Recently.
my friend's house, so I
Yeah,
haven't.
you can play. You can now change the skin of your guy and play a different looking version of him. So yeah, I really want to focus on that. I want to focus on Civ, Beyond Earth. So Destiny, whatever. And then they announced the DLC, right? Whatever. It's DLC.
Yeah,
They want to
DLC.
call it. If they want to call it an expansion, whatever.
It's DLC.
That's DLC. That's crap, actually. Did you
Is that what
Yeah,
they're calling it? They're calling it an expansion, or
I think
they are
that
calling.
they're calling it expansion,
Yeah, I
aren't
thought
they?
this all- yeah,
Yeah, I
this
think
expansion
so.
pass.
It-
Yeah. It's
the
expansion.
Dark Below.
We're calling it we're calling it.
Well, it's air quotes.
Yeah. I just
Expansion.
no. I mean, I brought this up. I think last week. I thought specifically there was going to be DLC style add-on content, and then there was going to be something more like a proper expansion, and then more DLC, and then a proper expansion, and then a sequel. Like that, the DLC was going to be a smaller thing that came pretty quickly, and that the expansion proper was going to be something that actually tided you over, on the course toward the long life of Destiny. And they've got 2 announced expansions. And if one of them is almost already here, like if that's really the timetable, like 3 months or something, then by the time we reach a year, where are we going to be?
Yeah.
If these are the named expansions. It doesn't track with what I remember them saying prior to release, is all. And
Yeah, they're billing it as Expansion 1, The Dark Below. It's
that's very
official
interesting.
artwork
That is
and
very,
everything.
very interesting.
Well, because expansion.
I mean,
puts-
either way, that's
Yeah.
fine. Go right ahead, I suppose. It's your game, and more content at this point is absolutely what that
Desperate.
game needs. But I wonder if are they going to take a much longer period? Like, did they alter the timetable to try to get this out faster to answer the complaints of there not being enough content in Destiny, or is this the timetable they were always going to work on? Right, first expansion after 3 months, and then what? The second expansion another 3 months, maybe 6 months. I don't know. Seems a little weird.
Yeah.
I'll get some insider info on it for you.
I'm sure you'll do precisely that.
I wanted to look up and see what all was involved or what all is included in that, and I believe, you said, hey, it desperately needs more content, but this is not. This is barely.
It's DLC.
Level cap goes 32, adds 5 bounty slots, as well as new weapons gear.
There's another
Uh,
raid, yeah.
It adds
new,
a
Which
raid.
would
Yeah.
account for the level cap going
new
up,
raid,
actually.
new strike mission, 3
It's-
new competitive arenas.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's 3 new arenas for multiplayer. Yay. Let's put that aside. As far as the story,
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's been pretty clear for a long time that people are either primarily PvE or primarily PvP.
Also, another strike mission that's exclusive to Sony players.
Yeah,
until
okay. I mean,
2015.
good.
right, but that's what
because
so,
I'm one of those.
So,
but-
so
Two strikes
for PS4.
for PS4 and PS3.
Right, but this is what I'm saying. They're adding for your single player content. Basically, they've added on PS4 2 strikes and a raid which you have to be at a certain level to do and have to have that many people to do it with. So they've essentially added 2 strikes. If you're on Xbox One, you get 1 strike and a raid that you have to be a certain level to do with
Right.
certain many amount of people to do it with. And that exclusivity lasts for a year for Sony.
Yeah, until at least fall 2015 is the official word on that.
So seriously, playing this on Xbox One, you are getting screwed over big.
Xbox One. Imagine if you're on the Xbox One and you are primarily a PvE oriented player.
Right.
That is that of the 2 platforms, the 2 major platforms.
Because you're not
and
getting
the
it cheaper.
two-
You're
and
paying
the-
the same price.
Right, and the 2 major play styles, right?
Mhm.
If you're the kind of person that just de-emphasizes PvP for whatever reason, that's fine, and plays mostly with your friends cooperative, doing raids and strikes. On the Xbox One, your play style is least supported currently.
Now I'm seeing a lot of messages in the chat room that says overpriced, rip off, things like that. So how much are they charging for this?
Money.
It'll be $20.
$20, man.
$20, or the season pass for both eventual expansions is $35.
I would actually make an argument that a lot of people feel like it's a ripoff because they think that this is content that really should have been delivered at launch. To some degree, at some level, largely because they're not happy with what's there. They're not happy with how they were serviced, and whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's coming really, really fast on the heels of what's already
What was the timetable between Vanilla WoW and Burning Crusade?
2 years. Actually, it was
It's-
2 years, 2 months. Vanilla WoW launched November 2004. Burning Crusade came out in January of 2006.
But I mean that's not including all the content updates they did. In between.
That is not counting the content
Yeah.
updates they did. Yeah, that were at no additional cost above and beyond your subscription. To be fair, a subscription game really should be providing you with content
Yes.
updates. New raids, new dungeons, new tiers, no level advancement, and almost never any kind of additional play area. No new zones, no new continents, no new things like that. But new dungeons, yes. New raids, absolutely, because in a game like WoW, that's how it's sort of defined, is by the increase of gear levels, raid levels, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's a little. I mean, it is a little bit different. I understand it's not a
yeah, exactly.
subscription-based
It's-
thing,
It's
but-
not completely one-to-one.
right.
As far as comparisons
It's
go.
and the arguments can go a couple of different ways because there is content in Destiny, not all of it, but there is content that requires you to have a gold, live gold or a PS Plus subscription to play. Not all of it, but the good stuff. It actually all the matchmaking
Strikes.
stuff. Yeah, any of the matchmaking
Yeah.
things. So, yeah. So you are sort of paying into a certain part of the multiplayer.
Yeah, but it just seems like that's too much.
It's too much by a very small amount.
Yes.
I think for a lot of people that play. I still have not got shed of the game. I still own it. Still holding on to it. It's because it's just sitting there. But I have to ask myself, come December, is it worth any amount of money to get some small amount of content back for me? Particularly since I didn't hang on long enough to find the right group of people to run Vault of Glass. So I'm kind of languishing at a lower level than everybody else. And what are they going to do? Is there going to be any kind of catch-up mechanic at all? Or is anybody who was left behind going to remain left behind for as long or until they can find someone to carry them further? I don't know. Honestly, I don't care. I think Destiny was very much anticipated. I still think it is a well-made game. I also think it came out in a time when nothing else was coming out. There was nothing else to do. December is going to be an entirely different thing, a wholly different creature, because between November and February, right? Throw a dart at a calendar. You're going to hit a day when something decent comes out,
Yeah.
or a week at the very least.
No, definitely.
So it may only be $20, but I don't
Mhm.
know how much of that they're going to get from people.
Wait for it to be PS Plus and like get that come down to $5 or hey, free if you've got PS Plus or something
Right.
like that you can jump into it with. Okay, we got Nate, we got Dennis, we got RJ. That leaves James and myself. I have played.
Played some Mordor?
I played some Mordor
I
today.
played some Mordor.
Oh, did you? You played some more
Yeah.
Mordor?
Yeah, I played for a while.
Any?
I'm hours into it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Any still feel the same way?
I mean, yeah,
Okay,
technically.
that's fine.
My argument was not that it was a bad game. My argument was that it was, chock full of nuts. There's just too much stuff going on.
Yeah.
There are too many systems. I think there's just a little bit too much stuff to keep in the air.
You want to talk about too much stuff going on? Sunset Overdrive has a lot going on. I played a little bit of that, and by a little bit, I mean I am ready to send it back after probably not even making it out of the tutorial section,
Really?
just because it's
Is it too much going on? Is it just too fast paced?
it's too busy. It's too much stuff going on. This is
sensory
this is-
overload. Your
This is me getting
eyeballs
old,
starting to
man.
explode. and
I would
everything.
think this would be something to be like, yeah, a system and whatever else, because it's being all, alternative-ish and whatever, the way it handles the mechanics and stuff like that, the way it doesn't take itself too seriously, kind of breaks that fourth wall sense.
Yeah.
I looked at that game. It's put me in the mind of Jet Set Radio with artillery or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I've heard from a lot of people. Is their thoughts on it? Is that it does have a lot of elements of Jet Set Radio.
So have you played that before?
Jet Set Radio?
Jet Set Radio.
Yeah.
And
Dreamcast. On your Dreamcast, right?
No, I didn't. I played
Really?
it on Xbox. Yeah.
We can't be friends anymore.
Jet Set Radio Future, I believe,
Yeah,
was the
bad.
name of
You're
it. So
not a great person.
I didn't play it on the. I didn't play it on the Dreamcast. I have a Dreamcast, but I never played for whatever reason. I don't even think I had that game for the Dreamcast.
but you still felt made you like overloaded with too much stuff going on.
The only
Really?
reason that it gives me that idea of that is because you get to grind. You know what I'm saying? The little grinding mechanism for him to grind on wires, rails, and all this other stuff. That's the only reason I get that sort of, Jet Set Radio Future did this. Or, I'm sorry, Jet Set Radio did this. So that's the only thing that it harkens back to for me. The rest of it is, it is extremely fast-paced. They want you to continuously move, keep moving. And I don't have the skill apparently to keep moving and also have good aim while I'm doing that in order to take care of what I need to take care of. There's a ton of stuff on the screen at one time. Gets a little bit disorienting with shooting and what I need to be collecting and whatever else that I'm doing. I'm sure that it gets better later on when you can up your abilities and
Yeah, it sounds like one of them games you have to practice for a good little bit before you can get the hang of it. Or, I mean, like how many? Couple hours or so for you?
Maybe I put in maybe an hour and a half before I was like I'm not gonna fool with you anymore. I'm just not gonna deal with you anymore. So yeah, that's off my radar and I'm done with that. Like I said, played a little bit of Destiny and then a bit of Shadow of Mordor and didn't touch at all. I appreciate the gift, but I did not touch Five Nights at Freddy's. I woke up to that and I thought, why would he send me that? I'm not going to play. That's like sending Dennis anything that's not Binding of Isaac.
Yeah.
He's just not going to touch
I
it.
told y'all before. I said Halloween. I'm going to send y'all the game, and that's
Yeah,
what I did.
well, I appreciate it,
Yeah,
man. I do.
it's on a good sale right now. Steam's selling a bunch of stuff out
Yeah.
there.
So yeah, that's and then of course Evolve as well, which we'll get into that a little bit more. Did you play anything else outside of Evolve and Shadow?
I actually did play around with Freddy's a little bit,
yeah.
but like I said, it was
You're
mostly just like, I don't understand you. PC games, I'm supposed to launch the PC game, I'm supposed to get a splash screen, then another splash screen, a third splash screen, then I'm supposed to get the company logo, then it's supposed to load up and I choose my options and I walk through my options. Instead, it's just like, you're going to 720. You want to play? Let's play. And it was just straight into it, and there was
It's the very first jump scare in the game.
yeah, it is. I was like, this is horrible. So I got into it for a minute, played around with it, and was like, nah, it's scary. It's really scary. I clicked on all the cameras, and I knew that what I was doing was like obviously wasting my energy because I had seen it played in context. And I looked at the things. I was like, oh, your face is so horrible. This stuff is this is creepy, and it's going to hurt me. It's in the middle of the day. It's going to scare me. I need to be in a different mood. I feel like I'm not doing. I'm not living up to the spirit of your gift if I play it at, noon on a bright sunny day. Needs to be headphones on with the room dark. I will at least give it a shot. So I played that.
Can you stream that, please?
Nope. Nope. Maybe, but nope.
I'd like the split screen mechanic where we can see the game and your face.
Yeah. I played some Mordor. I actually buckled down and got into Mordor and was like, I'm just gonna sit here with you for a while, like give you a couple of hours so that I can remember everything it is you want me to do, every ridiculous button combination that you want me to perform to do any ridiculous thing at any given time. Did a bunch of, you go kill the guys and got killed a few times and they leveled up. And I was like, I'm gonna come get you, and then I would get them, and that was great. And I really somehow feel like the game is just about the orcs, their personalities as individuals. They're so perfectly well crafted. It almost seems like they're from an entirely different game than the main character. He's so unrecognizably generic.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a very fair term under most circumstances. I think you should do a better job of explaining why you feel something is that way, but he's unremarkable. He doesn't stand out in any fashion. Oh, okay, your wife and child were killed, and now you're on like an undead vendetta or something like that. For whatever reason, nobody knows because the story isn't particularly well spelled out in advance.
No.
All I know is
have
that the most interesting people in this game are all of the orc captains. They're fascinating. They're brilliant characters. There's so much wonderful animation and puppetry and writing and acting and presentation to them that I almost hate killing them. But the only thing better than them being there as a form of entertainment is killing them and see who populates their slot next.
Yeah.
Seeing what other kind of orc the game can generate. So I've done that. I feel like I'm missing the hook to kind of push through the game even further. It's hard for me to tell the difference between side missions and story missions in terms of why I'm there and what I'm doing. It's fine. It's neat. It is good. I know that it doesn't sound like I think it's a good game. It really is a good game. It's just too much stuff. It's carrying too much stuff around with it. And I think it could have gotten rid of some elements maybe of the fighting mechanics, or maybe some of the overworld stuff, maybe some of the secondary and third level missions could have just been folded into other things, and the experience could have been streamlined a little bit better. What I do like though, and I'll make a declaration about this later on, what I really think, but so far I think my two favorite games of the year have been like mid-tier sleepers. Or at least what I believe to be two of the better games of the year. This was sort of, riding at a lower altitude because, it's coming in behind stuff like Destiny. But it turns out to be a really, really surprisingly good game. And the same way I felt about Wolfenstein back in the spring. It was just something that people had seen, almost a year previous, and they were like, this is not coming together good. I don't like it. I don't like the way it plays. I don't like their presentation. But in the end, it turned out to be fantastic. And it's been a year that's been filled with a lot of, top shelf, at least in terms of budget, top shelf games, AAA games, big heavy hitters. But a lot of the mid tiers have come out looking pretty solid. I like that.
Yeah, Wolfenstein is one of those titles that I think I'm going to go back and purchase actually after a while, because I rented that one. I did rent that one, and I had only played through the half of it really, depending on who you save.
Yeah, because it has that split path.
Has a split path,
point.
so I want to play one path. So eventually, I'm going to go.
Which way did you play?
I'm trying to remember the names. It was the older
Fergus.
Fergus, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I played through his path first, so I got to go back and do the young guy.
I think it's the right way to do it. I
Mhm.
think that's the preferred way. But yeah, I don't know. So I played some of that. Played a little more of my WoW. It was Hallow's End, right? The holiday
Yes.
Hallow's End thing.
Hallow's End, yeah.
Destiny
How-
tried to
how
do
old is
something
that?
like that.
Did they really?
They tried to do a
What
Halloween
were you
thing.
like? Were you
I
kicking
saw
around a pumpkin in the tower?
No, you got a pumpkin head that
I
you
was
could
say I
wear.
saw like a jack-o'-lantern helmet or screenshots
It's so
of that.
cute.
And it worked for some people, and it didn't work for others, which was very strange. They like I used all three of mine, and nothing ever showed up. And I used mine once on the moon, and it showed up on my head. Lasts for 30 minutes. The entire time, you do hear like, you hear everything going on, but constantly you will hear like men and women screaming.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
as though they're being slaughtered or something.
Those are just
while you're
people playing Destiny.
right. They added that, and they added God, I can't remember. It was some thing that you activate, and it'll apparently change the way you respawn for 24 hours. And then that was it. That's all they did. So no new missions, no pumpkin. A pumpkin to kick around in the tower would have been nice, but nothing like that. So
That's a shame.
but yeah, they
Or like pumpkin
tried.
grenades or something.
Yeah, they
Maybe
tried.
like a rail accelerator that fires pumpkins off into another planet.
nothing.
Shame. Wasted opportunity there.
They needed a headless horseman.
Yeah, it did. It absolutely did. So yeah, I played some of that. They added a couple new trinkets, collectible type things in WoW. The sort of stuff that generates rabid fandom and unbelievable amounts of hours played. But it really just amounts to twiddling of thumbs until the 13th.
Which I
When
made a
it's-
guy on your server, by the way.
Did you make a guy on my server? Yeah. Did it hurt you to make an alliance character?
A little bit.
Did it bother you a little bit?
It does. It's just not used
I do
to
have a
it.
horde character on that server.
I forgot I did have a night elf. It's like 55 on another server.
Yeah, I know. It's sort of gross feeling. I know,
It is.
but whatever. It is. I mean, it is.
You
what
have
it
to
is,
play
right?
WoW to understand.
Yeah, you have to. You have
really
to play it
do.
to understand. And it's like I don't really even ascribe to any of that sort of stuff. It's just then it's where my people were. So I'll go over here and I'll do this. Stormwind's cool. I guess looks really neat. Humans are doofy and funny. So I guess that's what I'll do.
The main reason I
that's
did it,
where
I
you
just
go.
wanted to check out like all the models and stuff.
Mhm.
See all that.
Not great. Not great in my opinion. Some
I
of
mean,
them are
to
some of
me-
them are pretty neat. The orcs did pretty well by
I
all of the
just-
changes. Yeah, I thought so.
No,
Good,
I would
good,
say
like
the
really
orcs.
great-
The orcs
Really
did
great
well.
facial animations.
To me, or trolls. Those
Trolls
were
came
my
out really,
favorite.
really well. Yeah.
To me, I just don't pay attention enough to that
I don't
to
either.
really care. And usually, I have gear on, so I'll never see my guy.
Mm-hmm.
So
And it's whatever. I'm not. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't.
that's another day.
I don't
another
get. Yeah,
topic.
no, it isn't. It's an entirely different topic. I don't get invested in
Yeah.
them in that way. It's just. It's my dude, my man, this guy, whatever. It's just
Torrent's
his
the
character.
best, anyways.
Peanut butter jelly time.
Anyway, when we come back, we're going to talk more about all three of our experiences with the Evolve. Real quick, before we take a break, Arioka had a question. Hi, guys. Was wondering if anyone played The Walking Dead, the complete first season for PS4. I was wondering if it was worth replaying it on current gen. The only answer I'll give to you on that one is it is if you want to move your save onto the current gen system so you don't have to play your PS3 every time they release a new season of Walking Dead. In other words, the choices you make from season 1, I think like one of them carried over to season 2. Not very many, but who knows when they'll change that and make it something really significant. Probably never, but you never know. So your choices from season 1 carried over to season 2. It's likely your choices in season 2 will carry over into season 3. And if you want to get off the PS3 or whatever system you're playing it on, that's last gen, I suppose, if you want to call it that. Yeah, that'd be the only reason to do that. If you have no intention of doing that, then by all means, keep it on your PS3, keep playing it that way, or whatever system, like I said. I plan on going through Season 1 and Season 2 on PC so that I can get off my PS3 and not play that anymore and just have it on the PC. So anyway, that's it. When we come back, we will have more of In-Game Chat in just a moment. Here is music from Homeworld. And welcome back to In-Game Chats, music from Hotline Miami. Don't forget, November 15th, we are moving up 2 hours earlier. We will be on from 4 until 6 Central Time. That starts November 15th, and that will continue forever, I guess. But yeah, that is November 15th. We'll be on 2 hours earlier, so mark your calendars or something. I don't know. Whatever you need to do. Welcome back to the show. We wanted to get into our Evolve discussion. Evolve had their big alpha, and by big they mean pretty much everybody play it. If you've got an Xbox One, we'll let you in. If you've got a PC, we'll let you in. If you've got a PS4, we'll think about it. It's PS4 was scheduled to get an alpha, but due to the update, that did not happen. And we'll go into that update a little bit later. But anyway, I played 2 matches on my Xbox One before I had issues. And this was the first day it was released. So I played it, and in fact, it was very strange. I got an invite from Sensefield on my friends list, and we get in and start talking about it. And a little bit later, he's like, "Are you the guy on that podcast for COG?" I was like, "In-game chat?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, I'm on that." He's like, "Oh, hey man, nice to meet you. I've been getting back into games, and I've been listening to your guys' show." And I was like, "Yeah." So we played 2 rounds. We played 1 round, and the monster killed all of us. We played a second round, and we won that one. As it was going into the 3rd round, my controller stopped working. It didn't say that your controller was unplugged. My controller was on, my Xbox was working, but it had no way to move anything on the screen. So I started using my voice commands to see if that would help anything. The only one it recognized was Xbox Go Home. I turned the controller off. I turned it back on. I took out the batteries, put the batteries back in. I tried to not repair it, but re-sync it with the system. And that didn't work either. And so I said, well, whatever. It was already. This was on Thursday, so it was already 9 o'clock or something like that. And I was like, it's time for me to go to bed. Got to get up at 4:30 in the morning. So I just turned the system off. Went online real quick, sent him a message saying, had some weird issues, thanks for the game. Got out of there. I come home the next day, I turn on my Xbox, it says, your Kinect's not plugged in. My Kinect is clearly plugged in. Every time I would say something, though, the Kinect would turn itself off, and it would say, your Kinect's not plugged in. I would wait a little bit, the light on my Kinect would come back on, and I was like, Xbox, watch TV. Kinect light would turn off, your Kinect's not plugged in. It was very strange. So I did a hard boot of it, and everything started working again. But I never touched Evolve after that. The news of the PC version came out that if you've got XCOM Enemy Unknown, you've got Evolve.
Is
Alpha.
that like about the only vector for people to have it, or is that just apparently the broadest one?
That seems to be the broadest one.
Okay, because there seem to be tons and tons of people who have access to it.
Yeah.
Granted, there are going to be tons and tons of people who have XCOM,
Right.
Because it's been on sale any number of times. It's a really, really good game. It's been practically given away.
Yeah.
So I guess I can understand it. I just wasn't sure.
In fact, it was given away just last week. If you voted for like the golden joysticks or whatever it was, you got a free copy of XCOM Enemy Unknown, courtesy of Green Man Gaming.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, and that is a Steamworks game, so
it's going to be in your Steam library.
Yeah, so tons of people have the game, and so now tons of people probably have the Evolve Alpha. And then just today, they recently sent out an email and said, "Hey, we're going to do a big server test. Join in from it was 3 to 6 our time, I believe, 3 to 5 maybe our time to like push those servers." And so I got it on PS or PC and sent a message to James. I was like, "I think you've got it too," and
yeah, I had just seen the news
Yeah.
online, so I did have it.
And so I popped on and played a few games of that this morning, and then I played some more games this afternoon.
Yeah, we managed to squeeze in a couple.
Yeah.
I mean, and Nate had played.
Yeah.
You had already played.
Let me ask you real
right?
quick. What's different from what you played last time they did this to
Right,
now?
because we should point out this is they had like Alpha V1,
Yeah.
which was much less well distributed.
Correct.
And that was what,
invite
2-3 months ago.
Yeah, it was invite only, NDA, all that.
Right, and
Yeah.
it was. I mean, I know I saw a little bit of video, but I
Mhm.
guess it was only through pre-approved channels, partnered YouTube channels or something. but then it just went away, right? Because it was going to originally come out in October, and they were like, nah, we are not ready. We are not in good shape. We are
They're
going to
not.
go away for a while.
It
and we're going
was
to come
not
back.
at the time, definitely.
So this is their second crack at, I guess, what they're calling the alpha, probably with a lot more changes on the back end.
Yeah.
And obviously being distributed to almost anybody. So they're clearly trying to stress test their matchmaking and hosting servers, right?
Yeah, I believe that's
The whole point.
one of the
Yeah.
purposes. Which I mean, it doesn't come out till the.
Did you
10th
play with any
10th
different
February.
characters in the first alpha, or is there some? There's a different.
I played with everything in the first alpha. I played every single class. Oh, are you saying is it different from this one? No, it's all the same. It's pretty much the same. It's like an updated build
Okay.
of the,
What I thought was strange. Well, I did not know that there were multiple characters per class,
yes.
because at E3 and at PAX, the support character that I played was a robot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's cool.
But
But that wasn't in the other alpha either.
yeah,
That was only like a.
and I don't think he's in this alpha
No, he's not.
either. So
Do we need to take a second? We didn't really talk about it a lot last time, but just give a really quick description
of what this
of
is.
what this game actually is. It's asymmetrical multiplayer, right? It's 4 people on a little fire team and a little group, a little squad. 4 people, 4 different classes. You do not get to choose what class you play. You can set preferences for which playstyle you prefer, and you do this, in the settings in the game. And there is a medic class, there is a support class, kind of a shielding, marking, mind dropping type of class. There's an open assault class, heavy firepower, that sort of thing, and then there is a trapper class. The trapper obviously being a direct reference to the fact that you are hunting you are in arena style outdoor type of environments, enormous terrarium style environments, and 4 people play each of the 4 classes in a squad, and the other person plays a large, very powerful monster of a certain type, and the monster can evolve by
Going
Isn't it by,
around.
like, going
basically
around
going
eating
around
critters?
and like eating the critters, the creeps in the environment. And he can evolve through several stages, and when he reaches his highest stage with the
There's
most,
just 2.
I thought
there's
there were
3.
3.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. When he reaches his 3rd stage, he's much more powerful. He's got all of his abilities opened up, and he can attack, I guess, the power generator
Yeah.
for that
Power
level.
core, yeah.
And it is the job of the other 4 people to track him down and kill him before he can do that.
But he can't kill it until he's max level.
Right. But he can kill the squad,
Yeah. Correct.
assuming they don't work together. So it is one person who really is playing a game of keep away or hide and seek while they try to develop their powers, and then wants to sort of deliver a killing blow either to the group or to, if you've got a group of people that obviously don't play well together and they're kind of going off on their own, if you're by yourself, you're very easy prey even for a level 1 version of this monster.
Do the 4, I guess,
classes.
human 4 classes, do they level up as well in
They
any
do.
way?
Well, but not within the actual thing. They level up in a permanent sense. Everybody levels up in a permanent sense, but the monster himself evolves within the match.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
if you're a healer, if you heal a certain amount and you get points towards your
Right.
gun, eventually your gun will be able to heal even more than the
Okay.
standard.
Yeah, it's like pretty much anything else with incremental unlocks and a XP based system. I do think it's fairly interesting that you don't get to choose your class, right? Because everything is very much designed around one of each class. You need an assault, a trapper, a medic, and support. So, well, I guess maybe you could do it without it, and maybe that'll be some kind of option if there are dedicated servers in the future of this game. But the way it's set now, there are those 4 classes. You can set your preferences from 1 to 5 of what you prefer, each of the 4 classes and the monster, to determine, where you are likely to be put in matchmaking. But if you're in a group, you will never be the monster. Like if you're in a pre-made group,
If you're in a party, you'll never.
yeah,
be.
you'll never become the monster. That's only for single people playing randomly. So, And I set my preferences. We all did, but you and I each played classes that were like, we were never given the same class twice in a row.
No.
And you
which
guys
was
haven't
fine.
played the monster, right?
I have not played the monster. I've only played the medic and the trapper.
I played the monster once today.
Okay.
And I played support and trapper. Really love support. And the more I played trapper, I was like, you're not bad either. But support really gives me the ability to level up very fast. Because I have that one airstrike weapon
The
that just
mortar.
does a ton of damage
Yeah.
to the monster if I can get it right. That monster's dumb enough to stay still long enough to take that barrage of the airstrike. God, I leveled up. I went 5 levels in one match
Wow.
Nice.
because I used that airdrop on the guy a couple of times, and then he got away, and then we went and found him again and used it some more, and he got away, and we went and found him again. This went all the way to the point where we had to defend the power station, the power relay, and just got up 5 levels in one match, which was amazing. You do level up. Seemingly, you do level up pretty fast in this, and I'm sure they've got.
See, I
that.
don't. I mean, I don't know. I didn't level anything up. It took me. We played 3 matches, and I barely hit level 3.
Mhm.
But compared to what you said you played earlier, and Nate, you said like you played a couple of real grinders. It was like 25 minutes to get the guy down. But when we played today,
Yeah.
we had like. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing, but I had seen some streams, and I was like, okay, I am never leaving these other 3 people. I'm staying by these other 3 people constantly. And like everybody kind of talked it out, and we all, knew each other, and it was just like we're going to step through and be logical about hunting this guy down. Nothing lasted more than 10 minutes. So I didn't have an opportunity to use my skills repeatedly and build up XP. I didn't have an opportunity to do a ton of damage because he wasn't running off and evolving. The monster wasn't. We got him down relatively quickly. And I understand the guy, if you're the monster, you're by yourself. And you don't have anybody else to tell you what to do at any given point in time. You have to sort of figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
And I get that asymmetry and that it's kind of like, as a first pass, if you don't have any idea about the game, you're going to be much more familiar with the squad of humans. It's a first-person shooter with some basic skills, and hopefully somebody will be there to tell you, like, throw the thing down, James, put the thing down, the big dome thing, so we can't get away, put it down. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's 4, and now I do the thing and we win. So, and the monster has nothing like that on his side. So, with a good group of people, it seems like they would be very, very difficult to beat in any in any meaningful way, all other things being equal.
Yep.
But with a really good monster, he's obviously going to have an advantage too.
Yeah.
I was about to ask you when you mentioned about the special abilities of the support character, the barrage, airstrike, things like that. But I think you just mentioned the monster has no abilities like that.
No. He does have special abilities.
Okay,
But they
You have an ability
they're
where you
acquired
can.
as they
Yeah.
as evolves.
Well, no. When you start out to play the monster, you get 3 points, whatever, 3 points to spend.
Oh, that's right. I have
yeah,
seen
yeah.
that actually.
And so you have 4 different things you can select from. The ability to throw a rock, big rock, boulder.
So you're playing Killer Croc.
Yeah, right.
It was a big rock.
Yes. And then the ability to do like a ground smash leap type thing.
Okay.
And then the ability to breathe fire, and then a charge ability where you can charge through a group.
Okay.
And so, but you've got 3 to spend. You can spend all 3 of them in one. You spend it in one, and it has a certain amount of damage you can do. You level that up to 2, and then level that up to 3. So you can have one ability, which, stupid me, I did like, oh yeah, I'll do this. I'll make my fire really damaging, and sure, whatever. I died. Or you can spread them out and actually use those abilities. If you don't put any points into any of those abilities, you don't get them during the game.
But I was about to say, so there's no thing like base, like a claw swipe or stomp or anything.
There's a typical melee, yes.
Okay.
But your special abilities, like you were saying that the other guys have, you have breathing fire, charging, throwing rocks, and doing a ground stomp, a ground pound thing. Other than that, you can swipe at stuff and climb out of the way. That's pretty much it for the monster. You also have an ability where you can send out they call it something where you're smelling, but basically just sends out a radar
Yeah.
where you can see through stuff and see where things are and see where everybody else is.
Is it something like a detective mode in Batman?
No, because it doesn't change the screen or anything like that, and it only lasts just real quick
Okay.
before it's gone. But it's something to kind of get your bearings as to what's around you, how far away are the hunters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in order for you to evolve as a monster, you have to eat some of the other animals that are around the area.
And those animals actually do pose a minor threat to the
to
well, I
both.
guess from minor to like moderate threat to the players
Yeah.
as well. It's something that they want to avoid generally. And
There
not
are
be
some
able-
really big monsters in there, as big as the main monster actually, that you have to that you don't have to fight but you can, because as you eat them, once you kill them and then you eat them as the monster, you will evolve, and as you evolve, your damage gets better. You get a shield, an overshield, and then once you evolve to stage 3, you're able to attack the power relay.
So as a monster, you basically want to keep away from the hunters as much as
You
Right,
do. You want
right,
to play
yeah.
stealthy as
you
the
wanna-
monster.
and they really can. Like in our the first guy we played.
I
again,
wish we were
oh,
streaming
man,
that.
I really wish I'd been recording it, because the third game we played, when you start, you'll be able to find tracks on the ground, and that kind of gives you a general idea of where to go. One of the classes has a pet that can kind of sniff out the direction where it is, but not super well, just kind of give you an idea of where he might be. And I walked over to the side of a little cliff, and because we had actually, there's a lot to say about it. At the end of a match,
There is.
you get to see.
Don't worry about the time. Just keep talking.
You get to see a like a replay of where everybody was on the map at any
Yeah, that's
given
really
point
cool.
in time. And you'll see like the four of you like dancing around in the little light trails.
It's a very time-lapse replay, but you can
Right.
see
like
how the
what
whole thing
the other
works.
guy did, what he played like
Ah.
against you. And there were like 2 times through one of our matches where we were like right underneath the guy. Never saw him, never found him. And he was playing totally stealth. He was just hugging a wall, sitting there completely undetectable, at least by us. And that happened again in the third match, but I saw some prints on the like side of a wall, and I was like, "What? This is weird. Where do these go?" And I looked up, and like the wall twitched, and like just out of this like mass of like vines and overgrowth, the thing just like fell out of the air and like ran off. And I was like, "Ah! It's a guy. He's a big guy. He's over here. I can't do anything. I'm a medic. I can't help you."
I had one of those moments. We found him, we were shooting at him, and he started running off. So we start going down.
It's amazing how well they can get away from you
Yeah.
easily.
Very
They are
quick.
fast. They are faster than you.
And the 5 matches I played, we lost every single time, just because we always had one guy who just didn't know exactly how to play his class. So there's
Right.
one guy who I would say at least 5 times when he'd pop his shield up, it was too late.
Oh
and it
yeah,
killed us
yeah.
every
and
single
there's
time
and it's
because-
kind of time. It's not immediate. It does happen in a bit of slow motion. They don't
Mhm.
want it to be an instant cast cooldown type of thing.
Yeah, it's understandable, but it killed us not being able to
Well,
get in
and
that bubble.
I tried to read up on the classes a little or get some concept of what they were, and I was like, I'm going to put the trapper all the way at the
Yeah.
bottom of my preferences, because I think that's a pretty important class, and I don't know how to play this game. First round in, I'm the trapper. And I was just like, oh, come on. But it's like one of your key things to do is when you actually get them cornered or when you catch up to them, you can drop these little like harpoon anchor things on the ground that snare him and slow him down. The medic can hit him with a tranquilizer that slows him down. And then you drop this force shield that gives you about 30 seconds of enclosure where he can't get away no matter what.
So basically, you have free reign to open fire. on.
Right, and he can't run, so he's got to turn and fight with what, or dodge or evade and try to live through that. It feels like about 30 seconds.
yeah.
And if you miss it, if he gets ahead of you, if he gets a burst of speed, or if he climbs out of it, or something, then you've wasted your cooldown. You've wasted your best opportunity to do it. And clock management is fairly important in that respect.
And he's running off to go heal or whatever.
Right, and it's odd. I can understand. I think one of the worst and maybe best things about this game is that when your first impressions, your first experiences are going to really color how you feel about it. You can have a dismal first experience, and it's got a pretty high learning curve, and obviously it has an enormous number of unlocks that are going to provide depth and breadth to how the game plays. But it's asymmetrical. With 5 people who know what they're doing, I can see it being amazing fun. And I really enjoyed particularly our second match that we played. We all played well together. Everybody stuck together pretty well.
We all knew our roles, and it was really nice to. It was good to have. Plus, it was. I will say this: it was also great that the communication that we can have, because if you do a pickup group, not everybody's got mics, and not everybody's talking to each other. And if you don't have the really, really neat communication in this game,
it's like a lot of games like this. It's like Left 4 Dead to me. It's if I'm playing with people that I know, fine, but I cannot play it with people that I don't know. It's not the kind of thing where I can trust that the other guy is going to even care what's going on. So I don't know, but I found myself actually enjoying that tension, enjoying the hunt. I don't know yet what it's like to play in the monster role, but I was really enjoying.
I haven't played it this time, but in the
experience.
original alpha, I played it, and it was it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I think they've got the kernel of something that could be really good here. I just don't know.
In the original alpha, that bubble shield actually killed that group, because when they enclosed me, for whatever reason, the guy just wasn't ready for it, and I just instantly took out the medic, and then it just went all down from there. So him enclosing me made me win, because otherwise I would just ran.
Yeah. It's neat. I'm not usually a fan of this type of thing, but I have to admit it's better than I had prejudged it to be.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to playing it tomorrow night. Over the week. I think on the PC at least we have access through the weekend.
Everybody's got access until it is 8 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
Sunday. Okay. So that's a good weekend of playtime.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to spend your time doing. It's not bad. We have any idea what it's going to be priced at when it comes out?
I think it's a $60 game. I don't know about PC version, but probably it's a 2K game. They normally 2K normally hits 60 on PC.
Yeah, usually.
On PC?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
I really
I
wanna know,
don't think I would pay anything like $60 for this.
do you know if mods are allowed?
I don't know if mods are allowed. I don't know if server binaries are going to be distributed
we don't know about
for
that.
dedicated servers. That would be really cool. I would really like to see
A Left 4 Dead style?
a Left 4 Dead style
It-
manipulation of this
if it-
type of gameplay.
If it does, I'd almost...
That
Oh,
would-
yeah,
you know
set,
what?
Set up a
almost-
bunch of different environments,
Yeah.
new creatures even.
Yeah.
Well, and I am going to look forward to... I know in the full game there's a monster that flies.
Yes.
I am looking forward to that.
Well, apparently W. Matthew in the chat room says that the flying monster is in this alpha. You just have
Okay.
to unlock
You
him.
just have to
Yeah.
unlock it. All right.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to put that
Yeah,
much
with
time
it,
into it.
now with that level of modability and server side control, it would be nice, right? Just recognize that there's 2 different rule sets. You've got an official rule set which works exactly as what we're playing now, hosted by the publisher or the developer, and then you have a completely different one, right? That allows you, say, to select your class regardless of what the balance says, and see where it goes. You know, to change everything and tune everything as you like. I'm not going to hold my breath for
Yeah,
that.
me either.
That's not common these
Especially
days.
with it being on PC and console.
Right. And the PC version barely knows it's the PC version. It really has an identity crisis. Like, I don't even have a controller plugged in, and it's like, push A to do
I
the
know.
thing.
Well, see,
And I
I
was
did.
like,
I did have my controller.
Can I click A? And it's like, all right, you can click if you want to.
Well, see, I thought it was just because I had my controller plugged
No,
in,
it
and
does
then I
not
realized I
care.
was like, oh wait, it's not.
Nope, it
Oh.
does not care. And all of the UI, all of the overlay and everything is clearly designed to break off into button style or D-pad style quadrants. You know, like, I can get over that. It's fine. I've been doing it for years, but it doesn't really want to be the PC version. It wants to be the console
Which-
version.
That's
So,
more common than not nowadays.
yes, it is, unfortunately. But nonetheless, really,
Motel
Fun.
saying, I wish the load time was less.
it is not terrific. But it
that's-
feels like it's normalized so that nobody gets ahead of anybody
No,
else.
that's exactly what it
Is
is.
it?
It's just like League of Legends.
Okay.
The game does not start until everyone has
Right.
been loaded.
But there's all these different thresholds for loading. There's like the party is in together, and then they're
Yeah.
going to load into whatever map it is, and then there's like a secondary loading screen where, to be fair to them, they force you to take the time to listen to a little 15-second, 20-second breakdown of what your class does. Like, you're this guy. He's got this thing, and he does
Here's what they
this
do.
when this
Yeah.
happens. Thank you, actually, for giving me a little bit of an introduction, or an introduction for anybody who doesn't know what's going on, and for making it so that certain people aren't starting ahead of others and stuff like that. So
I do appreciate the load times waiting for everyone. Even though
Yeah.
it sucks if you have a SSD because I'm like just sitting there
yeah,
waiting.
no, exactly.
But I prefer that just because that game needs everyone to be on the same
Mhm.
page.
Yeah, just to go over some details. They're saying when it does launch, it'll be 12 total characters for the hunters and 3 monsters altogether.
So 3 characters for everything.
Yes.
Okay. 4 classes, 3 each, and then 3 for the monsters. All right. I mean, that's okay. How many maps? I don't know. A lot of maps would be great.
I'm
More-
not seeing anything about over a dozen maps.
Over
Wow.
a dozen.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm seeing so far. This was.
I feel like
announced-
that could be an exact number if they
Yeah,
wanted it to
12,
be.
yeah.
Yeah, this is from E3 2014.
Okay.
Now these aren't skin types for the 3 different types.
No,
for
no, no.
each
They
one.
are.
No, they're different,
They're
actually.
vastly different.
They have
yeah.
It was
different-
interesting
okay,
because,
different
like I
stats for
said,
each one. Okay.
my robot guy that I played at E3 and at PAX, he does not have the same abilities as his same class guy that I am playing now in the alpha.
I was so hoping he would be in this alpha. 'cause
I love
wanted to
him.
Play him.
He pops his head off,
I know that's so
and
cool.
his head turns into a drone that you can pilot
I
through
really
the map.
don't. I really hate that you just did that. By the way, you did that in the car when you were explaining, and now you did it here.
Oh, use a controller.
Yeah, you use
function?
controller. Use controller fingers to describe how something moves around.
Right. Yeah.
Because we were jumping into the thing, and Scott was like, "Okay, to jump over this thing, like double press A," and I was like, "Okay, is that a sidestep? What is that? Is that like a quick dodge to the side?" And I like fell off the cliff, and everybody was like, "No, Scott's using the controller," and I was like, "Ah, come on,
Yeah.
controller."
Yeah. And I'm level 8.
The Xbox One tried to tell you that you shouldn't be using. You've been playing more than everybody
I know,
else,
yeah.
and you got lucky.
I did. That one where I just gained 5 levels in one round was amazing. Completely lost my train of thought on that, but yes, gonna get
Controller fingers, man.
yeah,
That's
right.
what does it.
Pops his head off and moves around as a drone. For about 25 seconds, you can move across the map as your drone head, and if you spot the monster, you can tag him so everybody else on the team can see where that monster's at.
So while your head's off,
You can't move; you're stuck.
yeah. So if the monster takes out your body, that's it.
Possibly, yeah. However, I do this.
Can you
as-
like recall your head?
Yeah. You can stop at any time
Right.
and
Okay.
start back up. But I do this as soon as I land with the team, and we're all there as a team. And that's when I pop my head off and move it around to see where everything's at, and try and find him as soon as possible, so that we all know where he's at. A guy we were playing with this afternoon for those 2 rounds was very good at hiding.
He was playing a little too cautiously.
He
but
had
I think he was
good abilities in one sense, and then
That's how I play. I'm super cautious.
right, which is very, very good. But the longer we're going to track you down.
Yeah.
Any decent group is going to track you down. You need to be working to try to evolve and get to that better state. And it is fair. Anytime you shoot, he can hear you. Anytime he feeds, he like howls or makes noise, and you can hear him. If he moves too quickly, he'll scare a bunch of birds, and it'll get marked on your HUD. That,
Oh, nice.
I scared a bunch of birds, or he did a thing over here. Like there are a lot of audio visual cues, and you have to balance that against the gameplay. So obviously, a cautious player is probably not going to want to move around as quickly or swiftly. He's going to try to avoid feeding too much. He's going to watch you and hope that one of you is careless enough to separate from the group. It is. Maybe it's super shallow, but at the moment, I actually do find that it seems to be an interestingly designed game. I kind of like it.
A few things just to answer your question earlier, Scott. The differences from the original alpha.
from your
to
original,
this.
yeah.
There's more options within the menu and stuff. Like you couldn't change the graphics a whole lot.
Oh, okay.
There's
Yeah, I bet you
that.
couldn't. Yeah.
You could only do, I think, high, or you couldn't go all the way up
Mm.
to what it is now. It's more optimized because before I was hitting on the max settings, I was hitting about 45, 50. Now I'm hitting 65 at a minimum.
Oh, okay.
So
Are you on very high? The very
I'm
high
maxed.
settings?
Everything's
Okay.
maxed.
You have a newer card than both of us, though, don't you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
But I was also playing. Windowed Borderless, and the game pointed out that it doesn't like that.
Yeah.
So.
one option is, which is somewhat cool. If you have to go away for a minute or whatever, did you notice in the menu you can switch to AI? Did you notice that?
What, really?
Yeah, you can switch your guy to go AI mode, and he'll
What?
start playing as you, and then that way you're not just sitting there. You didn't notice that?
I had no idea. That's actually really very cool for a multiplayer game. I mean, because everybody recognizes that sometimes you got to get up and do something.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you have to get rid of old beer and get new beer.
Yeah,
Right?
and so you can switch that, because
No, but I mean
went to go
that's
get a
very
drink.
very cool, so that it is at least somewhat
But
fair to
it's-
the other people in the match.
It's very handy
easy.
just at the minimum, because you need your guy to follow your group.
Yeah.
No,
And
it's,
not being,
but I mean more importantly, you need not to become a problem for your group.
Now I don't know
In
if
any
he
group-
attacks. I don't know if
But
he
I
do
mean,
all
it doesn't
that.
even matter
Yeah.
because if he is at least around, if he is at least on follow mode, the medic can look after him, and he can at least be near the fight when the player actually.
Unless you are the medic.
Well, then you're right. Well, then the medic is at least still close.
Unless
When
he
when
heals, he could heal automatically. I don't know. I
think he does some
happened-
of the stuff automatic. I honestly think
what
he
happened
does.
was
Really?
I accidentally hit the escape button, and it popped up, and it said something like switch to AI or whatever, and I was like, I switched to it, and then I had a phone call. I was like, oh, okay, so I went and grabbed the phone real quick, and I came back, and my guy was running around.
No, I
and
don't really want
switched
to.
back.
I mean, I guess I'm in danger of overstating how cool that is, but one of the things that creates so many problems in a
Co-op game,
multiplayer
I think,
game, in a co-op game with only 4 people, is that one problem player, one person who is a troll, one person who is out to ruin everyone else's experiences, which this is not preventing, or one person that just has to get up to do a thing, that's 25% of your team.
But
And
this makes sense though, that it would be in there, just because if someone leaves your group, it switches to an AI.
no, I've only played 3 times,
Okay.
not with people who would leave.
Okay, well, I had a guy leave, and it switched to an AI.
No,
player.
that's great.
And
I
actually,
really
one
like
of
that.
my very first game, I joined, and it was like, "Would you like to take control?"
Yeah, that happened to me.
Oh.
That happened to me today.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's really good. I have to
yeah.
give them an awful lot of credit for including. That's very, very nice of them to do.
Because I was watching the guy run, and it's like air press whatever
Yeah, to take-
X on my controller to
And when I joined, the
join.
monster was already stage 2.
Hmm.
But I just
All
thought
right.
that was an under.
That
I-
another
I-
interesting thing happened this morning while I was playing was that I looked down at the radio wheel on the left, which shows you the health of the other team members.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
Well,
was-
no, it's always up on the P.
that was not in the alpha.
yeah. There's a
Doesn't that always show?
yeah.
Okay.
No, it's there.
Oh, I thought. Okay.
I'm just saying
I
that
thought-
in that area under that was a directional pad,
Yes.
and I was like, it was telling me to press down. I was like, well, let me do it. I pressed down for just a quick bit, and I don't know, whoever was playing the medic, we switched.
Or do you think that guy was an AI and you took possession of the AI?
Possibly.
And the
We had
AI
a guy-
took possession of you.
We probably had a guy leave, and then there was
Yeah.
like, hey, you can now play
somebody can take over this class. Like,
Yeah.
say, if it's a more critical thing, like a trapper or a medic,
Yeah.
you would rather have an actual player doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's
I didn't know that either.
you know what?
Yeah.
I would almost not even care what your asymmetric multiplayer co-op shooter is about if you do those features, because that is very pro player, pro consumer, like anti bad time.
But I mean,
stuff.
to me, they
That's
should
really
have
very
experience
cool.
with that with Left 4 Dead. I mean, because that's
Yeah.
a big, Oh, the compass. I don't know if you noticed a little compass in there. That's very handy. Because in the alpha, you kind of lose track of like where you're trying to go. But now that you can see, north, south, east, west, as you're turning, it's actually pretty helpful, especially with your group. Like, hey, he's north.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, one of the
Right,
tips that
you-
I saw on that long loading screen that we had that first time was that players can trade roles.
Oh
Yeah, see, I didn't even see that.
notice
I didn't see
And
that
I
at
think,
all.
obviously, if we're in a group, you can say, hey, I really hate this. I want to switch. I'm going to
Oh.
back out real quick, hit escape. AI
Which-
takes
okay,
over, and then you
okay.
guys can
I mean,
switch up.
I think it was a really, really
I
good thing
think
for them
I'm-
to. I think it's a really good thing for them to make it so that everybody is dynamically assigned, so you don't get any kind of holdout. But offering the option, to somebody that's just there to play and doesn't really care, but you're always going to get a guy that's like, I live and breathe medic, so can I please have medic? It's like, whatever, Maybe you just had a bad experience with medics and you only trust yourself. That's perfectly fine. That's neat. That's a fine bevy of features, actually.
Yeah.
More things ought to do that. You think there's any way that we can put the rest of the show on AI control so we can play?
I know. I'd really like to. I might get fired
I'll
up while
look
while we're still doing this.
I'll look into that.
But yeah, it's out now. So, like we said, if you've got a PC, it's very likely that you've got this alpha to play with. If you've got it on Xbox One, there's plenty of ways that you can get it there. But PS4 does not get it, mainly because of the 2.0 update that came to the PlayStation system. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Microsoft's price cut. We'll talk about a lot of things coming up in just a bit here on In-Game Chat. We'll be right back in just a moment. Here's music from Mass Effect 2. And welcome back to In-Game Chats. That is music. Yeah, you almost had it right, Frucom. That was Saints Row 3. Well, you did get it right. You said 4 at the, yeah. But it's Saints Row 3 on that one. I should probably I need to get more music in there and switch that up. We need to do another music episode.
I can bring you some more if you want.
Sure. I mean, anybody is welcome to. Everyone at ingamechat.net. That's our email address. So if you've got some tracks you want to hear for music, send them to us. Don't send us suggestions for tracks to get. If you've actually got the tracks, shoot them. It's so much easier to do it that way, and we'll put them in. But anyway, welcome back to the show. I ran a little long on that segment for talking about Evolve, which should tell you a lot about what we got out of it, and wanted to talk about that update to the PlayStation 4. It is the 2.0 update. Came out the same day. It came out on Tuesday. Same day that Destiny does their resets all their stuff.
Everybody does everything on
Yes,
Tuesday.
everybody.
Yeah.
If you played more online games, you'd realize like Tuesday's like the worst. The worst or the best. I don't know. It depends on whether you're anticipating something
Yeah.
a lot or whether you just like have a random day off, you know? But servers are always down on Tuesdays. Worst day in the world for game
The
servers.
best
Yeah.
stories are when people are like, I'm taking off Tuesday.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't
trap.
take off Tuesday. Go to work on Tuesday.
Take off Wednesday.
Take off Wednesday.
Yeah, so they sent the 2.0 update, which has share play in it, which is the ability to let somebody else play your game online.
Uh-huh.
That whole pass the controller type feature, where they can
Yeah.
control your character at the same time. And they added YouTube integration, I believe, and then there was maybe a few other features, but
You could change your theme.
You can
Yeah.
change your theme. You could limit. They didn't give you full control over your the item ribbon on your main screen,
Yeah.
but they dumped a bunch of unused stuff
Mhm.
into your library, which I guess is a short-term fix for it growing too large too fast.
yeah.
You can edit videos more detailed now and stuff like
Okay,
that.
that's nice. But it caused a lot of problems. I had numerous connection problems with Destiny on that day. And I don't necessarily know if it wasn't Destiny's issue or if it was PS4's issue. But then outside of that, There's one bug that was causing the rest mode of your system.
Yeah, it'll go in standby mode, and you could never waken it.
Yeah, I
Right.
had that issue.
Okay.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have to do like the safe mode reset or something?
I didn't have to do any of that. Once I powered it off, all I need to do is just use the. You can't use the controller
Oh, you have to power it on at the system
with the
and
button,
then
but you
resync your.
can't. My fix for it, even though people still want to try to use standby, I don't really care if I have to use it or not because it's pretty much the same time whether it's in standby or powering off.
It is.
I just shut
unfortunately.
it off now. Like I just
Yeah.
had to shut it off, and I didn't even realize. Like I updated it, put it in standby, realized it was blinking a day and a half later, just because the next day I went to school and I was
Yeah.
gone all day, and then I was on the Reddit page and I was like, oh, there's an issue. Oh, my console's been running the whole time. I should cut this off. So I felt it wasn't like super warm, but it was
Right.
kind of warm. I was like, oh, this isn't good, so I'll just cut this off
Yeah.
until it's fixed. But so that's just my fix. I just make sure I power it off. And don't use.
Yeah, so that was one of the other issues, and apparently I don't necessarily know what the issue is for Evolve, but their email states that it is because of the 2.0 update.
There are some rumors that it's with SharePlay that was accidentally enabled, and that's not supposed to be with
Oh,
that.
okay.
Wow.
And they're wanting to make sure that's not.
Are they still going to? Are they going to deliver the alpha to people on the PS4
Not
Yeah,
this,
at some point?
at
Yes.
some point, I would imagine, not this weekend for
There
the,
was
a
for the
message
alpha.
that
So
was
we
just
can like
posted.
at least maybe double dip.
Yeah,
right?
I would think
Get this
so.
weekend in and then get. Some
I
PS4
imagine
time
they'll
in?
be doing some more, I imagine they'll be doing some more alphas and betas and whatever else, leading up to the February release. Likely one specifically for PS4, because those guys,
Because they haven't an opportunity
they
to
have-
test
right,
their
exactly.
that player base or that platform.
Yeah.
So that's true.
this seemed to be a big stress test for a lot of things,
Mhm.
and they didn't get to do that on the PS4 side of stuff.
Their
so.
Twitter page 2 hours ago said we're continuing to work on resolving the difficulties with Evolve on PS4. We'll bring you more information with updates when we have them.
8 p.m. Pacific tomorrow night. That's when they need to launch.
Right.
Just switch from the PC directly over
Probably
to
will get
PS4.
moved to next weekend.
Yeah,
if I-
probably. No, it's of course
Which is
it will. It
fine.
would make perfect sense.
What is next weekend?
Anything?
COD comes out Monday, right?
Is it?
Next weekend
Yeah,
is the
COD
7th and
is
8th.
next week.
Does it come out Monday?
No, Tuesday.
No. Okay. They're doing the Day Zero edition. And I believe some stores online digitally, and it's Best Buy and it's Walmart, I believe. We'll do it at 12:01 Monday morning, Sunday night type situation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
Um,
got COD.
Yeah. I
and
mean, which is
Cut
good.
off.
Which actually is
off.
really, really good. I think
Yeah.
there are probably an enormous number of people who are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious.
And best
I'm
part
just
is
interested. To
Best
see it.
Buy, I think it's Best Buy, is doing they're going with their Eastern time zone as being the time zone to do it.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And so all the stores open up at whatever Eastern midnight is for them.
Yeah. That's another very painful thing about having companies that set their clock entirely by.
The time zone they're in.
By Pacific.
Or Pacific, yeah.
Because Blizzard's like, hey, man, you're going to new expansion. It's totally going to launch at midnight or whatever. And I know they've changed this more recently, but historically it was like midnight Pacific. And it's like,
That's 3 a.m.
that's 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. here, my friend. So,
I won't be playing
whatever.
it.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
I won't be sleeping usually.
Bioshock Infinite Complete comes out as well for the last gen consoles. Yeah. I knew that particular bit of news would
Right.
just
It
send
really,
you to
really
the
light
moon.
me up. Yeah. Nope.
Aside from that, there's what I always talk about. Rebirth comes out next week as
Yeah.
well. It's PC and the PlayStation system.
COD's
Right.
I say COD's the big one only for the fact that the guys that I was running the raid with in Destiny were like, we're just hanging out until COD's out and then we're going
Yeah.
to play it. You know?
I mean, and it's, it is what it is. I
This is-
still don't think it's
people
going to.
enjoy Call of Duty.
I
That's-
don't think it's going to
just how it-
do very much in the single player sense.
Mm.
It just hasn't. I'll probably burn through it in one afternoon at some point
Someone said it was 6 hours.
following the holidays. Yeah, that seems about okay.
Sounds
par
about
for
right
the course
COD.
on a COD game, on a single player.
It will be interesting to see now that they have made the changes they've made to both traversal and environmental interaction in their multiplayer, like how well that fits into the traditional or expected, COD multiplayer stuff. I don't begrudge anybody any joy in COD whatsoever anymore. I know that it draws a lot of water. That's fine. It can do that. It will just be interesting to see if that really is true for a lot of Destiny people, that they feel that they've had an enormous amount of fun, but when COD comes out, they'll feel like they've gone back home. That's going to have a big effect on who decides to pony up for the money in December.
If I could red box it, I would, just to try it.
Yeah.
I would
I
never
would too.
buy it in a million years.
No, I don't think I
would
would,
red box it.
largely because they never discount their old games.
You can
but-
red box it on your previous systems,
Nope.
previous gen system.
Nope, nope,
I
nope.
don't have any of those.
No, well then never mind. You're not going to red box it on that current gen either.
Related
red
to
box.
Binding of Isaac Rebirth, that's in the PS Plus catalog
Yes, it is.
for
it is
next
going
month.
To be,
It is.
PS
We're
Plus.
gonna get that.
Yeah, by all means, get it because
That's actually. I mean, I already own it on at least a couple of platforms, but I think that's awfully nice. It's a little bit of a. No, you know what? It probably isn't. It doesn't make up at all for Drive Club.
Yeah.
they said that's
there's
now on hold.
Indefinite
Forever.
hold. The PS Plus version is on
Yeah.
indefinite hold.
Man.
That is a real bad thing.
Isn't
I
it?
was trying to find an appropriate, a broadcast appropriate euphemism, and that's. I mean, we have had sort of a natural kind of pro Sony bent in the last year, not out of any sort of historical grudge against Microsoft or anything like that. Just been a better time for us over there.
They had
but-
more interesting stuff. That's
Man,
just how it
I got to
was.
tell you, this was an enormous travesty. They need to get it sorted out. It was a big draw to PS Plus subscriptions for an awful lot of people, and regardless of regardless of how much money was on the line from individuals, it was something they promised, and something they never indicated in advance would suffer this sort of trouble, and have taken away indefinitely. That's not really good. But whatever. People are always arguing about what PS Plus is going to be, but I thought it was nice. Rebirth
Yeah.
is in that package. Okay. That's
definitely get a lot of people playing it. And
I can't even remember what else is in there, but
that's the most important one. It's the only one you should. Be
I think
concerned
actually
with.
it is the most important one. I'll
'Cause
get all
it-
six
it's,
though.
It's
but-
both on 4 and the Vita.
right, so I think it's going to be cross-buy.
Yes, it is.
Oh, gee, that's so good. It's so good. But yeah, I guess that's about it then. Until deeper in November, which is just horrible. It's just the worst
Oh,
stuff
not
ever.
the game.
Assassin's
Do what?
Creed. Assassin's Creed comes out
Oh,
When?
November 11th.
Oh, man.
Unity and Rogue
I
come
just
out.
can't. I can't care. I tried so hard to care. I cannot. I can't. I am out of care. I am bone dry. I can't do it. I really think they should have swapped them, by the way. I'm far more interested in Rogue,
I am too.
and I just don't want to play another Assassin's Creed game on an old gen system. It seems like the much more interesting concept, and you're trying to rope me into your co-op stuff, and I'm not buying it, and also it just doesn't look that great, and it's like, how do you have 4 assassin-y guys, and the assassins themselves always very cleverly inserted into important points of history? How do you have them put even in the neighborhood of that period of time in France and not have them be the Musketeers?
Yeah.
I know that's like
It's
hokey. I know it's ridiculously hokey, but at this point, everything Assassin's Creed is. So just own it, man. Just go completely through it. If they were like the Musketeers, it would be hilarious.
Do you
Be
still have
entertaining.
flashbacks from 3?
I wince occasionally. I have emotional scars from 3.
I think the only thing not that the only thing he remembers from 3, but I think the only time he has that callback to 3 is when something gets close to that kind of bad.
Mm-hmm.
But he'll say it's pretty bad. It's not AC3 bad, but it's pretty bad. You know, that's his measuring. That became his measuring stick.
Yeah, I really think it's like the worst game that's ever been made.
That's,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
the
I was about
bottom
to
of the
say.
meter for you right
Mhm.
now.
I was about to say there was no holds barred, and when you
I
talked
don't
how
think
bad that
I don't
one
think it was an example of like any particular thing, like the worst graphics or the worst sound or even necessarily the worst story. I just think that everything, if we're willing to look at any other kind of game in context, if every other game, good or bad, gets measured in terms of expectation or context or expenditure or anything else, then so should a game like that. And graded on a curve or against the curve or with a handicap or whatever you want to say, I think it's the most cynical, the most unfriendly, unlovable, unlikable, depressing game I've ever seen. I hated it. So, And I don't even have a personal agenda. Just something has to be the most hateful thing ever made. It just has to be. You got to define your sort of spectrum of what you enjoy. You know, you got to bookend it somehow to have any sort of logical comparison.
Yeah.
And it was a convenient thing that showed up for me to hate. Thank you very much for providing that. But this is coming from a guy that still thinks that Assassin's Creed 1 is the best Assassin's Creed. So have at me.
That's because
no one agrees, and I'm
I
comfortable
do.
with that. Oh, that is right.
Yeah,
you do.
I'm the only
Jeremy does too. This is an awful thing about us on this show. We agree way too
one. So
often.
it's 3 of us against the world.
Yep. I don't mind terribly.
I prefer 2 over 1, but you know,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
out of the series 2, Revelations I think was my favorite as far as
Really, Revelations,
Yeah,
huh?
I like Revelations a lot.
Is that one with Michelangelo?
What?
You mean Leonardo?
Or
Leonardo.
Leonardo. That's right.
Yeah. Well, he was in Brotherhood as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
He was in Brotherhood. And Revelations is the one where you meet up with Altair.
That's right.
You kind of Revelations is the one where you get to see what became of him.
Yeah.
And then because I brought James over to see the last
Right.
little bits
Yeah.
of that.
So that I
'Cause
could
was like,
just like some.
I was like, you
concept
really
of, like,
only
where
need
we're
to know
going.
these things.
Yeah.
Here we go.
What's funny with Assassin's Creed is I played them all except the third one, just because it was at the time when like school had started and stuff,
Yeah.
and I never got the chance to play it, and I just was lucky.
They don't make a callback to that game at all.
Yeah.
They really don't, with the exception of you get a Kenway, and
Yeah,
in
it's-
4, but that doesn't call back to.
No, and 4.
Connor.
I don't even know why we're on this track, by the way. But
I don't know,
4,
'cause this is what
4
we do.
itself, I don't think is like overall like a really grand game. I really liked the deep, tightly focused kind of mystery. They were driving down a very narrow road earlier in the series, and I think it was very much like the Resident Evil stuff. The longer it went on, the longer they refused to drive to the actual point, the more time they had to spend broadening the experience. And I think Assassin's Creed 4 was the perfection of broadening the experience, right? Too much of a collectathon, I know. Too many tailing missions always. One tailing mission is too many tailing missions.
Yeah.
But the pirate shippy stuff was cool, and the time and place and setting were really, really cool. It was enjoyable in that sort of broad, meandering sense. It was at the opposite end, in my opinion, of 1, and was, like I say, enjoyable. There's not one spark of interest for the new ones, and I guess I'm glad. I'm fine. I'm not upset about it still being there. I just think it could use an absolute tear down and rebuild, or it just needs to go away. Just stop it. Just put a stop to it. Whatever. That's me. It's fine. Well, it'll do wonderfully.
Yeah, man, just November is so packed.
November is
you got
unfair.
those Lego Batman 3, for those who are interested in it. Looks pretty good. It's a Lego game. Warlords of Draenor for you. I know you're going to be on top
That's a
of
big
that.
deal. No, that's a lot of time and input and
And
dedication there.
Then 5 days later, your other
yeah, Dragon Age Origins.
yeah.
Or I mean Inquisition.
Inquisition.
Yeah. Which is I don't know if anybody noticed they opened up the Dragon Age Keep beta to everyone. I don't even know if you know what that is.
No.
It is it's a web portal that you log into with your Origin account, right? And it is specifically designed because they've done they did not do a very good job moving. You know, everybody understands inherently that Dragon Age 1 and Dragon Age 2 they're just not even the same game, even remotely. Origins to 2, you're still playing in the same world, but any choices you may have made, and Origins was very much about making tons of choices. For people that played Mass Effect, it'll seem sort of familiar. It's a lot the same type of thing, only with the added variable that you could play any one of like 5 different origins. Be significantly different types of people, have significantly different types of relationships. So recognizing that Inquisition still follows on, both with some of the same characters and definitely in the same universe from Origins and Dragon Age 2, they've provided a web portal where you can import some of the rough experiences from the previous games, which are attached to your Origin account, should you have played them, and then manually craft the experience you want to import into Inquisition. You cannot import save games from previous versions of Dragon Age, but you can customize what you want the backstory of your playthrough to be. Like a very, very, very much expanded version of what they did in Mass Effect when they launched 2 on the PS3.
Yeah.
Because those people had not had an opportunity
Yeah, I
to play
gotcha.
1.
Because I remember in Dragon Age 2. it
That's
was,
fantastic because I have not played.
Right.
Yeah.
And the better thing is that in Inquisition, you'll obviously be better off if you have played the previous 2,
Right.
but I think they're being very careful to craft a kind of game that doesn't require you to have done that. This is not like Mass Effect. It is not strictly serialized, and it certainly does not follow the same hero character.
Yeah, it seems like you could play Inquisition and be just fine.
Yeah, you could be just fine. It would be really nice if you had some basic understanding. Knowing them, that's probably built into the situation through context and dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
But whoever you played in Dragon Age Origins, whoever that could have been, was absolutely not the person you played in 2. They were very much not even close to the same. And Inquisition will be the same yet again.
Yeah,
So-
in 2, you could actually if you didn't have a Dragon Age Origins save, you could select like from one of 3 presets.
Yeah, some basic presets.
And it's like, oh well, the warden was a human who gave his life to save
Right,
the Archie,
right.
or it was a dwarven commoner, or
Right.
what. But it was like very locked in. To what
Very
you
locked
didn't
in.
get many
This
choices
is
in that.
this is much more detailed. It lets you step through every major story and relationship point and determine, what you did or what you would have done. It's neat. I think it's a really good way, and it gives everybody an opportunity to start from a really interesting place. And maybe I'm just making this up, but I think that you can have that be different things, right? Like if, let's say you wanted to play a new, whatever you create can be imported into any version of Inquisition, console or PC.
Yeah, because it all comes from your origin account.
Right. And I believe you can set different ones, possibly, so that you could have different starting positions in different versions of the
Okay.
game. I think. Maybe I'm making that up.
Interesting.
Either way, in general, it's good. I played around with it some. I'm really looking forward to Inquisition. Strangely, everything else is secondary. Really want to play Far Cry 4. Well, Draenor's not
Yeah.
secondary.
Yeah, Far
Um,
Cry 4 is on there.
I'm owned by Blizzard. But
Just, man,
Far Cry
every-
4 is secondary. Unfortunately, Master Chief Collection is going to be secondary.
Yeah,
Though I'm looking for those videos. It looks so good.
I know.
Right?
That Blur
Two in
Studios.
particular.
Blur Studios is a fantastic studio, folks. If you're going to do anything with CG and you got the money to afford it, get those guys from
They
Blur.
are good.
They are fantastic. They redid the cinematics for the Halo 2 and the remastered version of Halo 2 that's coming out with the Master Chief Collection. Those guys are just
And they've
phenomenal.
done quite a few movies, haven't they?
I don't think so. No.
No? I
No.
don't think of a different studio.
Maybe they have not done any movies. About the only thing they did cinematic wise was the that little test reel of Deadpool. That was all done in CG. that was their work. So we're gonna take a quick break, and by quick I mean like 30 seconds, and then we're gonna come right back and we're gonna finish up the show. We'll be right back with more in-game chat in just a moment. See you in a minute. And welcome back to In-Game Chat. Music from Bayonetta there. Thank you again, RJ, for sending that music in. If you've got some music that you'd like to hear in the show, video game music, please, send us the tracks at everyone at ingamechat.net. We'll get them in and hopefully get them played on the show. Don't forget that November 15th is the day we switch to 2 hours back. We're going to go to 4 to 6 Central Time. That starts on November the 15th. So make sure you mark that down and remember to do that on that date. We've only got about 20 minutes left in the show. Wanted to talk about, there was
LucasArts on GOG.
LucasArts
X-Wing, TIE
on
Fighter.
GOG. Bethesda says Prey 2 is done.
Oh,
There's
God,
all that
don't
stuff,
even-
man.
Oh, come on, dude, don't bring it up. Don't bring it up.
Good news with the bad.
It's so upsetting.
It is.
Yeah, Prey was just
I
really
really-
good.
I really wanted that game, and I fundamentally disagree that Prey 2 is an idea that should have happened not in the Prey universe. I think the whole concept of the Prey universe really, really set up an excellent stage for what they were trying to do. Right? Earth was destroyed. You're one of a handful of refugee survivors. We've talked about this ages and ages ago, but it was like the Titan AE storyline. Right? You're a lone human whose entire race has been decimated. You're nothing. You're a pest, and you've now been forcibly removed from your home that doesn't exist any longer into a world populated by, among other things, the aliens who destroyed your home, and you have to make your way like in that, and that starting point is really going to color the type of character you would be. The gameplay, sure, those systems could happen anywhere else, but I really wanted to be that guy from that. I don't know. I was really, really looking forward to it. And I know that a trailer is just a promise and nothing more. But that Prey 2 teaser was so cool. It's one of those things that I still go back and watch every now and then.
Johnny Cash they used in that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was
Yeah, it was
one
good.
of the better game trailers I think
It
I've
was
ever
good.
seen. Really
Pre-
sold me on an idea that could very much have just
want-
been a lie.
Nate, will you find that trailer
For Prey?
for Prey 2?
Prey 2, the original.
Yeah,
original
that
teaser
use
trailer.
the Johnny Cash music. Throw that in the chat room because I'm going to click on that when we're done so I can watch that again. I haven't seen it in
'cause
forever.
Man, Prey 1, when Don't Fear the Reaper starts and you
It's
like start
still
getting
one of
taken
my
up-
favorite. It's still
Man.
one of my favorite moments. It is still just absolutely brilliant. And then like crawling through that ship's guts and like
Every door's a butthole.
right. Every door's a butthole, and like outside of one of those buttholes, Art Bell is on the radio, like talking about. I was like, this is so weird. This is such a weird and funky game that's so out of place and out of time, but it's so cool.
Yeah.
It is so cool in 100 different ways. And if you, again, as I always ask people to do, if you put it in context and realize that it had an almost endless development cycle, a lot of the ideas that it was doing really were revolutionary when they first started work on it. It is,
Yeah, the portals in
the whole
particular.
portal and like the spatial bending and everything. It was
Was it from 2011?
Could have been
Yeah.
as far back as this thing.
Could've been
was
from
back.
That was the one I found,
97.
so I'm pretty sure that's it.
for as long ago as it feels like it's been. But it was fun. That's a terrible
Right.
thing. But
Yeah,
yeah,
so that was, go back to your-
we got X-Wing.
Yeah.
We got TIE Fighter. We got, about a dozen games released from the LucasArts catalog, or was it something smaller than that?
Trying to get
There
that.
was
With
12, I
more
thought.
promise.
With more coming
So-
out on the way. 12, I
Yeah,
think.
Secret Monkey Island, Knights of the Old Republic as well.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's,
Sam and
One of
Max.
the
Yeah,
Sam and Max,
I
one of the
think-
Indiana Jones games. Fate of
yeah, I
Atlantis.
think those are. Yes, Fate of Atlantis, Sam Max Hit the Road, and the Star Wars game you mentioned as well.
Right. With more to come. So everybody's thinking at least the rest of the things that are probably available on Steam currently will show up in the catalog. Hopefully, I would really like to see all of the X-Wing stuff come out. I would like to see X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, XVT, which was a late 90s release.
I saw a lot of updates whenever that GOG thing hit from
Yeah.
tons of people on Twitter and Facebook just saying, well, yeah, because it was TIE Fighter, I believe, that they were.
TIE Fighter's the real gem. TIE
Yeah.
Fighter was like the real solid gem.
They
The
were like,
brightest,
"Oh."
the brightest point in all of that.
Yeah.
I think if they release X-Wing Alliance, that'll be the best thing for people who have never played.
Mm.
TIE Fighter and X-Wing, they hold up enough, right? Like, so if you go into it with your mind completely configured to understand what you're playing literally 20-year-old DOS games. Although they did release both the DOS versions and the remastered Windows versions
Right.
from the later 90s. But it is largely nostalgia. There are certain story beats, there are presentations, there's a lot of the density of action. A lot of these things just work in a way they worked 20 years ago. It's design considerations and gameplay considerations. Things have evolved, and that's all there is to it. It's going to feel a little bit strange. X-Wing Alliance, though, really did kind of change the nature of how it was presenting the story. It it will feel a little more familiar to people that are just broadly familiar with Star Wars as a concept. And also, it is the one of the 4 titles that is heavily moddable. Heavily, heavily, heavily moddable. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ship types and mission types, mostly ships and skins and all this other stuff, that were added into the game. Anything that's ever been represented in any of the Star Wars fiction from any point anywhere along the Star Wars timeline has been modded into that game and can be made to look very, very good. Even though it was only a couple of years later, it is much more modern. And so I think people would have more fun with that version. I really, really hope they can get that one.
Yeah.
And, you know, who knows what else. But I picked up TIE Fighter.
And what else do we want to get to? The Xbox the Xbox 360, the Xbox One price drop that took effect.
Yep, $350 for their bundles, which
$350 for the system, but you also get $350 if you want to go for the bundles too.
yeah. So you can get the Sunset Overdrive, or is it their COD bundle?
The COD bundle is a little bit more expensive because
Okay.
the COD bundle has a bigger hard drive than everybody else.
What is
Yeah,
the cheapest point of entry for an Xbox One right now?
$350.
What SKU is that? Can you get it just on its own, connectless?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all connectless. All connectless.
Connectless, all connectless, basic bare bones system,
350.
500 gigabyte hard drive
hmm
for $350.
However, their bundles, with the exclusion of the Call of Duty bundle, the Sunset Overdrive bundle, the AC Unity bundle that they're doing, which looks like it comes with actually 2 games, not just one. It looks like you get Black Flag with that, along
Okay.
with Unity. Those are also $350.
Are these physical copies of games or digital?
That's a good question. I do not know.
If they're physical copies of games, you're coming in a lot closer to $300.
Yeah.
If you don't want the game, you can just trade
That's a
it
good
in.
question. I don't know that. I'm not sure, and that may be
I'm-
something you can find out real quick. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's a little.
Digital
It's a
would be
little.
the cheaper
I'm trying
one,
to
right?
see,
Cheaper
but-
way, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
It usually comes with a little card that says, "Here, activate." You know, here's your.
Yeah, I
here's
mean,
your
I would
code to
imagine
download
you
the
don't really
thing.
want to be packaging in something that's going to sell perfectly fine anyway.
Yeah.
If it's a real stinker, fine, pack the actual thing in the box. But I figured it was going to be digital, but
Mhm.
whatever.
More than likely is.
Anybody-
$350 is still a good entry point. It's just interesting. Like, why would you not buy a bundle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe
Why would
they,
you
they
prefer
are
to not
digital.
have a game? Okay, that's okay.
Okay, PS4 is still going to be
400.
$400. Anybody predicting a price drop to counter match?
Not
it?
unless
No, 'cause
not
this
unless
is a
the
limited
sales
time thing.
drop off.
Mm.
This is going to be a limited time, 2 months.
Right,
I
but
think?
even if it wasn't a limited time thing, Sony has absolutely no incentive to drop the price point.
Okay.
I mean, they're selling perfectly fine. Now, I don't think just because they've been the cheaper alternative. I think that's maybe where the majority of those sales have come in. But until they see a real reason to do a price drop, I don't think so. Maybe next year, but maybe not.
Yeah, and this
They're
is
doing
just this is a seasonal price drop.
It's a
gonna go
seasonal
back.
price drop, and it is only in the United States.
Yeah, that is correct. It's
Mm.
only in the U.S.
And Sony's been doing far better internationally anyway, globally. So, yeah, I don't think this really changes
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah, I think I heard about the sales of Xbox One in Japan. It's not good at all.
Yeah, there was ours recently took a really, really, really close look at their numbers and sort of tried to evaluate all the metrics they were using to determine exactly where everything sat. And their best guess, their finalized guess for where we are right now is that Sony's got them like 2-1. Which
Yeah.
isn't
Man.
very good, which is backed up by the fact that they've dropped their prices so much. Which, again, we all recognize that the price was not appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of their systems and their behavior was not appropriate. And, okay, they can't really change what's under the hood, so we can't be too upset about that. They've changed the price, or at least dropped it and given us opportunities to get in cheaper. I don't see how there's too much left for them to do, other than release some more games.
Yeah. With COD, they've got those exclusives for the maps. I don't know how well that sells in the COD community. Probably very well. But they get those exclusives. Unlike Destiny, where the exclusives are a year, these are only for a month, I believe. They get the early maps a month in. So,
I saw in Canada, I believe, there's going to be a Last of Us bundle. And it's like you get Last of Us for free, I think. Something like
Really?
that.
Interesting.
That is
You
interesting.
might see that in the
I'm curious to see what they'll do for the U.S. Will they respond to this price cut and instead of dropping the price, just say, well, here's our $400 system, but with it you get these
Last of
free
Us,
games.
yeah.
You give you Resogun. We'll give you Last of Us. Whatever else is exclusive that they can throw on that system. Beyond Two Souls remastered, whatever it's going to be.
I could totally see him doing something. Remember when back in the day when 360 did the arcade and you got a bunch of like the arcade? I
Yeah.
could see PlayStation doing like a indie bundle. You get a bunch of indie games.
They've got the inventory for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they've got
Be
the inventory
interesting.
for it. Just PS Plus alone has the inventory
Yeah.
for it for all the free games that they give out.
I'm surprised either console hasn't thought of that.
So
So if they do, I'd like a fifth of % of the sales.
Yeah, I'm sure that's coming straight to you.
Yeah.
what a Dying Light, they canceled the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions.
Which,
I'm
not surprising. I mean,
I'm fine with that. But yeah, I'm just looking over whatever's left. I mean, we got a few more minutes. What are you going to be doing next week, RJ? What's in your future for playing?
Well, like I said before, I'm going to be
Dead Space.
running Dead Space Hardcore. See if I can run through that before the week is out.
That's the music we got coming up here in a bit too.
Mhm.
By the way, to take us out, Dennis. What about you?
oh, you know what I'm
Why
playing.
did you
if-
even ask him? Don't do
Why
that.
did you
It's not
bother?
even funny anymore.
That was stupid. Yeah.
It's just, I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be playing Binding of Isaac Rebirth, playing
Alright.
it over and over again.
Matt, if you happen to
Yeah,
hear this
man.
episode, we're all kind of curious when you're coming back to the show. We'd like to know that.
I talked to him briefly. I know he picked up X-Wing and TIE Fighter.
Okay.
So I don't know what else, but I know he picked up at least that.
Nate, what's on your list of things?
I want to try out Binding of Isaac. Does that come out this week or is it the following week?
It's this
It's
week.
Is it
this
this
week.
season? Okay,
That-
yeah.
It's what I keep talking
I
about.
do-
over
I
and over
do-
He's
again.
just like tuned it out at this point because it's just
I know.
Yeah.
understood.
Because
Yeah.
it's
I
just
don't
the
even
same
know-
thing I'm parroting
Something,
over and
something
over
Binding
again.
of Isaac.
I don't even know what the game's about, honestly. Like I've heard of it a ton, so I have been wanting to try it out. So you're the first person I thought of when I saw that.
Stream that
last
when you
week.
do that, by the way.
Okay.
You want me to
No,
stream it?
yeah, I want him to
Either
stream
one
it.
of you.
Okay.
Stream that from your PS4 because you'll get it for free for PS Plus.
Yes.
Stream that. Since you've never played it before and you
Okay.
don't know anything about it,
Yeah.
stream it. I want to see your reaction.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. So
Let's
okay,
see how
yeah,
you play that.
I'll do that. I'll do that. So I'll be trying that out, and hopefully maybe next weekend do the Evolve. That'd be nice. Play it again. Play it
If it
Yeah.
shows up on PS4.
But yeah, I've
Yeah,
been
we
playing,
do it for
I was-
PS4, yeah.
playing that tonight. And actually, I've been gonna hop back into Warframe this week. I heard.
Oh,
it's
really?
completely changed since when I played it, and that's 4 or 5 months ago. And so now I've heard. I think when I played, they were on patch 8, and right now they're on patch 15. So
Okay.
Yeah, you got some stuff to go into.
yeah, quite a few things have changed.
Yeah.
And that's a really fun game. If you guys tried that.
No, I haven't.
I haven't. By the
Really
time I,
I'm
by the
actually
time I had
ashamed to
an-
say it. Yeah.
by the time I had some interest in playing it, I was like, I had that shame of new player where I was like, this is a world of people that have been playing this for at least months. So
When I first started playing it, it was horrible. Now that I look back, they gave you no instructions. I had to figure out everything. I had to figure
Right.
out how to craft. It was horrible. And now they explain how to do all of it. It's much more enjoyable. They said it's a completely different game.
There's a couple of
what are
those,
you
like-
playing? Are you playing on PC?
PS4.
Okay, cool. I wouldn't have any interest necessarily playing on PC, but I
Yeah.
thought, I have it on the PS4, and sometimes I let it sit there and I think about pressing X, and then I'm like,
I'd like to get in some of those
Yeah.
free to plays. That and DCU Online.
And the other one, Blacklight. That's really fun.
Blacklight.
used
I
to
played
play-
Blacklight on the PC for a
Me
while,
too.
and I.
This
I
is
di- I
Blacklight
didn't-
Retribution, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't particularly like their monetization, but the game itself, like
Yeah,
the
it's
core shooter,
fun.
of, like it was.
If you want a free shooter like
It
a
was
Call
good.
of Duty,
Yeah,
and
it was
when
good.
When it was in beta on PS4, it was horrible. It was really laggy.
Really?
You'd get shot, you'd run, then get
Oh,
shot,
yeah.
and then reload. Now it's just like PC. It's just like if you want a free Call of Duty game, go
Yeah.
play it on PS4. But yeah, so just throw that out. Warframe, if you guys want to play this week, I'll be playing.
Yeah, and myself, I'll be doing more Shadow of Mordor, more Civ Beyond Earth, which I need to actually get down and play that. Every time I sit down and play it, I'm like, no, I don't have an hour. I don't have the time that's going to take to do this. So let's do it when I do have the time. And definitely getting in some more Evolve tonight and tomorrow. And then for you this week, real quick.
Mordor and Elite Dangerous Beta 3.
All right.
Oh, just a thing for anybody who's interested in Binding of Isaac Rebirth. If you buy the original Binding of Isaac for $1 on Steam, you get $5 off a pre-order of Rebirth. So work out the math.
What's the cost of?
Pre-order
Rebirth.
pre-ordering Rebirth is 15 on
So it'd
Steam.
be $10 if you spend one.
If you spend
So
one.
11 instead of 15.
Yes.
All right.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us in the chat room, as well as everybody listening on the stream and on the radio. Thanks to everybody who grabs us each week from iTunes or however you get our show for later use. We really appreciate it. Go to ingamechat.net and find us on Twitter, Facebook, and our forums at colonyofgamers.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're on Steam, we've got a Steam group you can join up with over there and play games with us and other listeners. Thanks, everybody. Don't forget, November 15th, we're going to move up 2 hours from 4 to 6. That starts November 15th. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next Saturday. This is music from Dead Space.